Hello, everyone. This is Susan Bakewell-Sachs, and thank you all very much for attending today. I am very glad we had this set up as a webinar so that we could all be in our respective environments. I know the College of New Jersey closed actually at 10 o'clock this morning because we didn't have power. So I'm sure that many of us are in our home environments. Anyway, Nicholas, Lynn Mertz, and I will be taking you through this webinar today. We have a pretty full agenda that we hope is going to really be an opportunity to bring you up to date with regard to a number of issues we think that probably you've had questions about. We want to clarify things. We certainly want an opportunity for you to be able to ask some questions. So I hope this will be very helpful. If we go to the next slide, with the agenda slide. No, I don't see it, but maybe my internet connection.
No, you can advance it yourself if you click the right top next to the one.
Very good. Okay, so everybody's on the agenda slide. Thank you. You'll see the agenda that we have put together. We'll be giving you some overall New Jersey Nursing Initiative updates with regard to the faculty preparation program, which, as I'm sure you all know by now, is being fully integrated into the program office, as opposed to being divided between the program office and the foundation. We'll talk about the incentive program, curricular innovations, the upcoming site visits, many of which are already scheduled, grant reporting kinds of details, and then have an opportunity for you to ask us questions. So I'm going to start with the. Let me also just mention one thing that I didn't mention in terms of the curricular innovations. There will be, or I can wait. Let me wait just to mention that. So let's start with the New Jersey Nursing Initiative program updates, the first slide that has that heading. The program office, which is also the NPO, NPO stands for National Program Office. Our program office is set like all the other Robert Wood Johnson national program offices, even though we are technically a state program office. But we are your primary contact. The program office is your primary contact. So as of now, any and all questions that you have with regard to specific questions about reporting, requests that you have, and submissions will come through the program office first. In addition, we have questions with regard to your budget, or you want to request revisions. Those will also come through the NPO prior to submitting to the RWJ Foundation. And this is really so that we have an opportunity to be fully in communication with you. Now, Nicholas will still serve as your initial contact for general program-related questions or concerns. The thing I want to emphasize here is that in addition to Nicholas, we are all here to help you. But there isn't any reason to change Nicholas being your first your initial contact. And also in reviewing your requests and through the program office, we also have an opportunity to be advocates and to help facilitate things through the foundation. So we really hope that this will be a smooth transition, and it also will be beneficial to you the way that we have it set up. The next slide gives you an update with regard to an abstract. The Jersey Nursing Initiative did submit an abstract to the NLN for the 2010 Education Summit, and it was accepted for a presentation, actually a symposium presentation you can see that the date and time and the actual concurrent session number and letter. This symposium is going to focus on the overall faculty preparation program, including the curricular innovations, highlighting the CLC certainly as one of the hallmarks that we're piloting and testing. We want to include scholar perspectives and early lessons learned in this project as we've been moving forward. There will be Mary and Joe Ladden is going to be able to be there. Diane Billings is going to be there. I will be there. We hope that many of you will be able to attend as well, because it is an opportunity to be sharing our work as we're engaged in it, and to feedback and questions from our peers around the country. So if you have any desire to go to Las Vegas, this would be a good time to visit. The next slide mentions the NJNI Leadership Council. This is a council that we will be launching later this year in April. The council is going to have several functions, including strategic guidance, some coordination and networking enhancement, we believe, and also from advocacy. The members will all be individuals from across the state, New Jersey. They will represent academe, practice, business, and other stakeholders, and these will be thought leaders and also people who have the ability to really help us make connections across the state that will help to facilitate implementation of our programs and hopefully advance our ability to sustain the work over time.
And everybody, yeah. I think right, Nicholas. I'm absolutely. This is like my maiden voyage into webinar. I wanted to also be able to give you just a quick update on some of the progress that's being made with our website, its utilization. I think in the broadest sense, I'd like to start out just to kind of let you. I don't know how much any of you have had opportunity or the need to go to the website at all. It is being used frequently. We're able to get the reports, its functionality, and its use, and we're averaging over 1,000 hits a month of discrete hits, and then from there, we also do know where people are going, how long they're staying on the site, and the rest of those kind of statistics. But it's at least informing us that so far it's a website that people are finding useful, and that's then giving us the confidence to continue to be building it out. There are probably a couple of areas that we want to draw your attention to in particular. I think there's a couple areas that will be growing that aren't there at all right now. One will relate to the nursing task that is getting established in conjunction with ACN. That's the Centralized Application Service. So the functionality and the interconnection with the CAS application and our schools will be built into the website on a page, as will a faculty resources section. And we're hoping that can be a tool both for your scholars as well as obviously for nurse faculty throughout the state. I didn't put the web link on here, but if you have any familiarity at all with I Teach Nursing Mississippi, which is iteachnursingms.org, and other ways I'm see as our model. And my request to you would be to check out and to see, if this is the type of resources, their website that would be useful both to you as a professional as well as to our nurse faculty scholars in the pipeline and useful information to beginning faculty. We want to be able to work with you and with the scholars as almost both a focus group perspective and feedback, and help. And if you can then kind of help inform the development of that, would be make a whole lot of sense. You probably have been on the scholars pages many times. We're continue to flesh that out even more, and as we get more information and activities, we'll be putting those on the website. The homepage, actually, I'd also just like to highlight to you, updated pretty much on a weekly basis with the most current article related to nursing in New Jersey that we get compliments of. Solutions. Joanna is on the call, and there's one of her colleagues that sends us clips daily from the state, and there's also a number of the web-based periodicals if they're referencing NJNI or nursing. And Nicola updates the website in that section of it. So I think if you're looking for nursing in New Jersey articles, I want to just kind of bring the current connection to your attention also. Where we're going to also next be getting on to will be the area of the asset mapping that you know that we've been working on. We're going to be adding 2 new tools to the website. The one, it has a Google Map feature, which you see on this screen, and this is very busy from this perspective, but what you'll have the ability to do is to sort by county or by area, i.e. the schools you see here or hospitals. These are 2 different categories that we've picked just for this template. You can get a sense on what's going on, let's say, for where all the associate degree programs in the state, or you could try to find out where are all the BSN programs in Mercer County, and also all the magnet hospitals in that county. That's just an example of what the functionality will be, and it's not limited to that. We'll also be adding on some of the density factors in there too to kind of help us get a sense of our nursing education needs throughout the state. You know, to another important area, actually I want to just go back for a quick second with the newsletter. I'm going to toggle back on the screen but to the topic with our website. Is also hope that if you hadn't already signed up for our e-newsletter, I'm just going to give a quick plug for that. We have about 400 subscribers so far, and again, that membership has been increasing, and the quote-unquote the rates along with it and people linking back to the stories on the website is proving an effective way for us to communicate out NJNI and to all people who care about it or care about nurse faculty issues in the broader sense. So I would surely hope, though, that you would consider that if you're not already on the list, but also maybe with some of your graduate students and your fellow colleagues. Going back to fundraising, we will, I know we want to begin to build on the foundation that the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation has begun with the New Jersey Nursing Initiative to ensure that it doesn't end. And we see at this stage 3 particular targeted areas that we are working in conjunction with the folks at the firm, the Angeletti Group, to identify areas where we can begin to fundraise. The faculty prep is obviously the one that's probably nearest and dearest to your heart, and that is, how do we continue this afterwards? How do we continue that for all of those other highly qualified applicants that you're seeing that are not able to include in this program? How do we get the master's scholars to go on and earn their doctorate? And so that's really what we're beginning to pull together at this point, and identify funders as well as identify program descriptions for that. Visit Scholars Fund is another idea that we are fleshing out at this point, and that would be to be able to create an opportunity for a scholar from anywhere in the country to come to New Jersey, have their, be in residence at one of your institutions, but spending a portion of their time, mostly dedicated to the institution and another portion dedicated to overall faculty development as it relates to the NJNI goals across the state. So that one we see having great opportunities that we're working on. And the third one is the clinical placement innovations, which one that is one of the work connected to one of the work groups of the project, addressing faculty capacity with innovative clinical placement solutions. So we're busy doing that, and we see that in the broadest sense on helping to lay the foundation to create sustainable funding for NJNI. Gears dramatically, we want to now kind of begin to talk about the some of the program changes to the faculty prep program that you all are very much aware of since end of December, early January, and that's the change to the payback requirement. That while we've dropped the requirement that the nurse faculty scholars dedicate their 3 years to teaching, we clearly want to create a culture and an incentive that they will want to do that. At this stage, there's a couple different steps that are involved. We are working with PR Solutions to do all that's necessary to revise and update the website and all the content on the website so that it is current with the dramatic change. We'll be doing the same thing to the collateral materials. And clearly, we're going to need to make sure that you do the same, which, particularly for those of you who are recruiting your second cohort for the master's, is very, very important. Our website has not yet been updated, but it will be soon. And I just want to bring your attention that that's where we're heading. We are also working on developing talking points sheet and a frequently asked questions sheet, and we will share that with you really so that everybody has a consistent message and has an answer for a question that somebody might bring to you. And actually, when you see that frequently asked questions and talking points, if this one we haven't thought about or haven't encountered, we'd ask for your feedback. That is an iterative process, and we want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to communicate with, obviously, the current scholars as well as the next cohort, and that you've got the right information and the kind of the right support from us for that. As I said, when we've taken away the payback requirement, we wanted to create an incentive program instead. What you see here is the model that we are going to be able to put forward, and this is will be in effect. Year one is essentially the first year after the student has worked, as a professor the first year. On our calendar, that first cohort will have completed their first year of employment in 2012, and that's what we're, looking for, that this will kick in at that point. Basically, as it says, it will be still fleshing out the specific details of how that will happen. The management of this will take place at the program office level, so that is not something that you will be responsible for managing, but clearly we are going to want to continue to work with you individually with your scholars on that point. I think what's really important, and it's something I'll just throw out here, but if you want to think about it, another point, it's a conversation that will continue, is we're going to need to obviously do a major shift in, I think, the way we think about ensuring the success of this program, and that the nurse faculty scholars stay for the 3 years at least, obviously, or ideally we're wanting that to even be longer than that. But since when we're shifting from a mandatory language to an incentive, it really begs for us to work between now and then on creating a culture that really ensures their success. Working with them, that's involved, the courting and marketing of the program to the various schools to know about these scholars, that the preparation that they went into or that they went through, so that they are viewed as highly desirable beginning their faculty. So as I said, that's an idea that I'm just planting with you now. It's a culture shift as we kind of move forward, and I think actually it's a great opportunity for us to kind of a really kind of desirable environment for success for the scholars.
So I'll jump in here now, and we'll talk about the curricular innovations on the next two slides. Each of you submitted in your proposals curricular innovations that for the education aspect of this curriculum and building in that faculty preparation piece to what would otherwise be clinical curricula or more research curriculum. Obviously, the curricular innovations are an important aspect of the overall program, with significant implications for advancing nursing education. So, for each of the curricular innovations, we'll be looking for follow-up as we come out on the site visits and learn about how it is that you are actually implementing these through course materials, samples of student work that demonstrate the effectiveness or that have provided some information for how you have learned to, through this implementation, you've gotten information with regard to what needs to be revised. This may be in the form of an evaluation plan, course evaluations, student feedback, certainly faculty input and feedback with regard to these. We are interested in knowing how these curricular innovations will be advanced and ultimately sustained through the curriculum. And in those of you who are part of collaboratives, how the collaboration itself will be sustained, and maybe how the collaborative itself is going to move forward in implementing other things. So we're interested in both the overall picture of this as well as the specifics with regard to how you're doing the curricular innovation.
Great. And if it's okay with you, Susan and Lynn, I just want to unmute the lines for a moment and see if we have any burning questions from what I've heard so far.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Marianne.
Should I go?
Yeah.
Okay. And it didn't occur to me that it might be an issue, but our scholars at Seton Hall were made aware, and certainly are, about the change in the requirement post-graduation. And so they understand it will change to an incentive instead of a mandatory employment. And it never occurred to me to say to them, regardless, you still have to work as a nurse faculty. And one of them said something yesterday, and I looked at her and I said, well, yes, even if you didn't work in New Jersey, the expectation is you would work as a nurse faculty. And then she just kind of shrugged her shoulders, and I thought, well, maybe I'm just assuming something that I never asked the question. So that's my question. Am I correct in assuming that they must work, even with the incentive, as a faculty, even if they go out of state?
The incentive program is only if they are working. I mean, they only receive the incentive if they're working in New Jersey.
No, I understand that.
Okay.
But suppose they, for either they choose to or for other reasons, take a job, let's say Pennsylvania or New York, is the requirement that the job is a nurse faculty job. That's my point. Suppose they decide to be a nurse searcher in an acute care.
You're eligible for the incentive program.
Okay, but their penalty. Just trying to understand. I mean, I know what
Correct.
we want them to
No,
do, but
the penalty has been removed.
Okay. So essentially, the student was correct then.
Well, I think the issue. This is Susan, Marianne.
Yeah.
I think going back to what Lynn was talking about with regard to the incorporation and the really having, we still very much want obviously, with the investment that we've made in these students, who were admitted based on the expectation they wanted to become faculty. This is investment for nurse faculty, and so, obviously we don't want to lose them, and that's why the incentive program has been developed. We also were wanting to be as generous as possible in understanding that to have the scholarship and everything taxed would have been a burden for them. So we still what we don't want to do is have them. Yes, they can choose to do that, but we want to be very, very clear that this is a significant investment, and the investment is with the hope and expectation that they will become nurse faculty.
Absolutely, and I agree with you, which is why I was kind of surprised when she made that remark, like, well, never, but that's what I really needed to get the right information. I certainly see the value in the teacher role. I just, when they nail you for an answer, you really need to have the right answer for them.
I think the point is that we be very intentional and proactive in all of our language because there is no guarantee. So we've got to create a culture that ensures that this still happens and not just take it for granted that it will.
Hi, this is Claire. When I met with my scholars this week, I discussed that although the legal imperative has been removed, that I felt that there was still a moral imperative for them to seek employment, and they fully agreed with that and said that was clearly their intention.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of nonplussed by even the question, and so I just said I would ask about it and get back to them. So because the right information. Certainly, I know what the right thing is to do and to what I'm supposed to support. But that's
And
the reality of the situation is, just like anything, there are probably some scholars that are in here for the opportunity for a free degree that may have, varying degrees of commitment to the field. But I think we need to be moving forward under the assumption that everyone is here under good faith. But I also think that it becomes the ability of us as a program and as you guys as grantee sites to make sure that we're doing our job in creating an atmosphere that makes the career a desirable one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I look at that as our moral imperative of making sure that we make it an easy choice for them to do what we believe is the right thing by making sure that we have the strongest program possible and the strongest opportunities for them.
That answers my question. Thank you so much.
Excellent. So if any more questions, we're going to move forward, and we'll have another opportunity for questions later on. So as we've been discussing for a while now, we're going to be having some site visits coming up in the next couple of months. And so we thought that now was a great opportunity to discuss the site visits a little bit more. First, site visits have several purposes for us, both programmatically within the NJNI program office as well as from the foundation perspective. So it's an opportunity really to take at work on your individual projects and see, are we meeting the objectives and the goals that we set up, that you mentioned in your proposals, and are we on track and online for the innovative programs that we decided that we wanted to try to do here in New Jersey, and also to us to be made aware of how we can provide additional assistance to help you strengthen your site. So help support the things that are going well, and also help you to troubleshoot solutions for things that may not be going as expected. One of the benefits as well is that for each of the site visits, and we'll talk a little bit about the site visit team composition later, but we will all be having members of our National Advisory Committee there during the site visits. I think that there's a tremendous opportunity for us to get some unique perspectives and insights from people that are leaders in their field, but not all of them have very close relationships, maybe direct relationships with nursing and nursing education. So it's an opportunity to have you inform them about all the great work you're doing, as well as having them give you some perspectives that may be different than the ones that you get from on a day-to-day basis about your programs and some things that you can consider in making it more successful. And the last point is a point that I think doesn't often get highlighted enough, but I've been on enough site visits to know that it is a great additional benefit. Is another great benefit of the site visit is it allows you the opportunity to highlight the successes of your program in front of your internal leadership. It's great when you have your funder come to see all the great work that you've done, but it's easier when bosses and your boss's bosses can hear about all the great work you're doing as well. So those are some of the purposes that we have for our site visits. I wanted to clarify what they're not. They're a critique of your ability to manage the grant. The reality of the situation is we, as a program office, as well as the colleagues at the foundation, realize that not everything goes smoothly, that nothing goes according to plan, but we also have the opportunity for some real unforeseen unforeseen successes as well. So we are all your advocates, and we are all operating under the assumption that you are more than dramatically and fiscally to manage this grant and the challenges that come up with it, and we have full faith and confidence in your ability to do that. So what this is not is a critique of your ability. And in addition, what it's not is a chance to review financial information that's been submitted through a regular reporting structure. I know that we have had some reporting can be sometimes very confusing, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that after this portion. But the site visit isn't really the appropriate time to discuss financial and regular reporting. But what it is, again, is an opportunity for us to see the good work that you're doing on the ground from a first-hand perspective and allow you to talk with us about that. So we have site visits right now scheduled for the 17th, 18th, and 20th of May and 24th, as well as the 1st, 7th, and 8th of June. By now, you should have received a email to this effect, and if you haven't, please feel free to know at the end of the call, and we'll make sure that you get that. An important consideration is that you guys will determine the order of events. There are certain things that we need to make sure happen during the site visit, and we'll go that a little bit later as well. But you're leaders for the site visit, so we are your guests, not your evaluators, and we want to have the opportunity to see your program in the light, best light. Your scholars should be available in that visit. I recognize that scheduling is a challenge, but the scholars are an extremely significant part of our overall program and your efforts at the individual sites. And we all agree at the program office that every effort should be made to have the scholars there in person. Some time carved away that we can talk to the scholars about their opportunities there, about the challenges they faced, and about how we can all work together to make the implementation of the program as successful as possible. The site team that goes to your location will include an MPO staff member, so Lynn, myself, or Susan, excuse me, as well as a member of our NAC and possibly an RWJF staff member. So Mary Joan or another member of our human capital team may accompany the site visit. We promise to keep the numbers small. We don't like coming to your house in a gang, so there'll probably be no more than 3. But again, it's another opportunity for us to have a diverse set of experiences come there, have the most diverse set of perspectives, taking a look at your program, and also giving you the opportunity to educate us. So here is a site visited, just sample. Again, this is not written in stone. I just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of some of the things you might want to include in your site visit. As you can see, we start with breakfast, and for everyone that knows me, I very, very much like to eat. So if you're in the morning, it would be a good to have some breakfast there if possible. But you'll see that we have a university administration and the program administration in NJNI. We're not set in stone as to where this appears during the day, but we want to make sure that we have time to watch your programs and to meet with your senior leadership. And Susan will go into some great about that at the end of the call if necessary. There's also one there, as you can see, to discuss scholars' opportunities that the wonderful opportunities they've been given at your sites. And toward the end of the day, we like to have a debrief with just the site visit team, a meeting with just the site visit team, and then a debrief altogether before wrapping up. Again, this of the agenda is not set in stone. It's just supposed to be there as a possible sample for you to use. What you'll see next are the quote-unquote requirements. So in advance of the site visit, you will receive what's called a site visit profile. You'll receive it from myself or Lynn, and it consists of approximately 10 questions that ask about the implementation of the program at your site, some challenges, some successes, areas for improvement, how we can be continued support and things like that. There are fairly specific questions, but what it does is, again, gives you the opportunity to let us know about what you'd like to focus on during the site visit, and allows us the opportunity to see if there are any areas that we need to make sure that that we address in advance. The second requirement is that we need an hour to discuss your program. Like we said, they're not very specific at when you choose to have that hour of program discussion versus when the scholars are there versus when we meet administration. But we want to make sure those things happen throughout the course of the morning or the afternoon. Additionally, the half an hour time for the site visit team to kind of discuss within the day. Most people get toward the end, and at least 30 minutes for a final debrief. So far, these are the universities that have already filed for their slots. So if you look here, you should be seeing the Drupal site that we set up for selecting times. The green OKs are times that have already been selected. So for those universities that have not yet returned the email with completing sections as to when you prefer to have your site visit, time are running out. So be sure to do that as soon as possible. And again, if there has been with you receiving the email that invited you to register for that, please let me know as soon as possible, and I'll make sure that you get that. So why don't we I'm going to take a quick moment to pause on this and see if we have any immediate questions about the site visit. Your lines are open.
Are they going?
Oh, no, I apologize. One moment. I am not half as tech savvy as I pretend to be. Lines should be open now. Do you have any questions about the site visits so far?
Hi, this is Kathy Bradbury-Golis. I have one. I noticed that on your agenda you had said that you wanted the scholars to be in attendance, which all for, but I'm in a collaborative like with William Patterson and everybody, and it's a 3.5, 4-hour drive for my scholars. I don't have a problem with being there, but one of them's in a family nurse practitioner course at the time. It would be a real hike for them to be able to be on site. It could just be a certain number of scholars, or does it have to be all of them?
Well, again, that we have them all there. We recognize that you're a member of a collaborative, and so that presents some unique challenges. But we can take that part of the discussion offline and see what we can do. But the general theme is that we'd like them to be there. So if some special considerations need to be made to make it happen, I think programmatically we ask you to do everything that you can.
That's fine. I just need to kind of set it up with them.
Sure.
Because, like I said, they need to know a long time in advance. do this. So I just need to set it up with them and let them know that.
Right, and again, that's another reason why we wanted to get these dates out in front of you guys as soon as possible, so you could make all the organizational arrangements that were necessary.
And this is Lynn. I would also, I think as we go forward, we frame it from a perspective that this is hopefully a great learning opportunity for the scholars to participate in something like this, because there are other types of site visits that go on, I think, within higher ed all the time, middle states being the one that comes right to mind, as well as your own national accreditation process. So this exposure to this process is much learning experience for them, in addition to offering the feedback, as you know, from the scholars. So I think there's a couple of agendas that get accomplished by their being able to participate, recognizing that it could be a lot of travel time in between.
Okay, thank you.
Any other brain questions before we move on? Okay, excellent. Just to be respectful of time, I'm going to report on this a little bit quickly, just to make sure that we can wrap up by 3 o'clock. But we will, Lynn, Susan, and I will be on the call past 3 o'clock, so if there are questions at the end, we will stay. I'm not going to speak for them, but as long as it's necessary to get those answered. So we're going to make sure that we get through this now, but if you have additional questions, we'll be here to answer them. So I'll just briefly go over grant reporting updates, because I know that, again, part of that process can be very confusing. Many of you have been inundated with automated emails from the RWJF system, and then requests from me, and then requests from Lois, and so again, recognize that this can be a challenge, especially for organizations that aren't used to report quite as often as the foundation requires. So just kind of wanted to take an opportunity to briefly kind of create a new baseline on what we expect reporting-wise. So every one of you is required to produce an annual narrative and a financial report. That's every year. We'll need a narrative and financial report from you. Periodic budget revision if necessary. So we'll go into it a little detail a little bit later. But if for any reason you need to revise your budget, or you need a special consideration circumstance, you'll have to do a budget revision for that. And a final narrative report, and that final report is again at the end of your program. So that won't be for several years for most of you. Now, in addition to the WJF requirements, we, the NPO, will require a 6-month progress report. Now, the foundation requires this for any budget revisions or payment requests, so this is not different than for that. But we look forward to getting 6-month financial and progress reports from you to just see how everything is going. Because I realize that as we get into the implementation of the program, things change, and this is the quickest and the easiest way to keep all of us kind of looped in on what's going on the ground, and to give you, again, the opportunity to hear from us on a regular basis. In these 6-month reports, we may ask for scholar demographic data, which is information that hopefully you are collecting anyway. And occasionally, we get a request from the evaluators and the grant result reporting unit at RWJF. So there are going to be times, not often, but there may be times when we are asked for additional information from one of these two groups. And so we try our best to accommodate those requests. So what goes in your annual report? Annual report consists of both a narrative and both a program and a budget. So that'll be both the financial report as well as the narrative report. They're due once after the year of the grant has ended. So if hypothetically your grant is up in November, your report would be due in December. And they focus on functions that you can enter in 1 to 2 pages. They're really top-line reports. You'll see here that detail for how to do your annual reports can be found here on the RWJF website, and we can also get information out to you, sent out to you as well, to make sure that you have that information in front of you. 6-month progress report, again, has both narrative and financial reporting. And I just want to reiterate again that if you need a revision for any reason, or if you go over an item by more than 5%, those are times when we need budget revisions, and budget revisions will require financial reports. And this too is due 1 month after the period of the grant has ended, and the period is a 6-month interval. So it's just like the annual, it's due 30 days after the period ends. It follows the same structure as the annual report. What you'll see on the screen right now, and I'm not going to read it verbatim, but we've got the 4 questions that are covered in the progress report. This can also be sent to you as a Word document if you need it. And so we're more than happy to do that. But again, these highly exhaustive reports, but they do ask for specific questions. And again, it's an opportunity for us to know on a more intimate level what's going on with your projects, because by doing this kind of regular update, we don't wind up having to catch up on 6 months or a year's worth of progress all at an annual meeting or something like that. So it's the goal to stay as current with your programs as possible. And you can see here that you will be submitting all reports electronically. NJNI at njchamber.com, and you'll want to put the grant ID number and whether it's a 6-month date or annual report in the subject line. Again, this is made for your convenience. We just try to set it up so that you have one source to go to first. If you require budget revisions, like Susan said in the beginning, or if you require to your program in any way, it should come to us first, and we'll discuss it with you. And then, when appropriate, we'll forward on to the foundation. No information on reporting products can be found on the WJF website at URL, and it looks just like this. So you'll see that it's rwjf.org/grantees and instructions. It's fairly defined, but again, I'm more than happy to work with you individually if necessary to help get you started on that. That's all I have for the reporting right now. I'm going to open up the lines and give Susan and Lynn first a chance to make any kind of comments, and then we'll open up lines for questions. Susan or Lynn?
I don't have any comments at this point, thanks.
Yeah, I'm fine with just let's move on to questions.
So your lines are open, guys.
This is Kim, Louie. Thank you so much. This has really clarified things that were sort of swirling in my head, particularly as my responsibility in managing the collaborative and getting ready for our 6-month progress report, too. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, so I have 2 questions. The first is, can we copy of these slides for some of the detail?
Yes. So this entire presentation is going to be archived. We'll email this to you, and I will email the presentation to you as well.
Great. My second question, or maybe it's more of a concern, is that there is outcome data that you'll want throughout the program, or by the end of the program at least. And I think there's been really clear direction as to what kind of outcome data you're looking for at the end. And so the concern is that if we're capturing that data as we go along. Did I articulate that okay?
Yeah, and I'm going to well, first, Susan, did you want to respond to that?
I guess the starting place for that would be what you put into the original proposal with regard to what the innovations, for example, were, and how you anticipated you were going to know if those innovations worked. So that would be the starting place for where we would be. If for some reason they're not formative evaluation benchmarks built into that, then that again, that would be the place to start, and that's where we need to probably talk.
Okay,
Excellent. And nothing, again, that we can discuss in greater detail, but certainly during the site visits as well.
Okay. My question is, and as I'm listening to this, it sounds to me like the 6-month report is pretty much like the report with questions. Okay. And so I think I've got that down. And the report that and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't tell you what the middle of it is, but it was, now our grant was late November 1st. So, and I didn't come into it until March. And in June, it could have been late May or June, Nicholas, you sent a multi-column reporting template. And, you know, I probably told you the whole world on it because I didn't know what was too much or too little. But I do have to do that now. So I guess my question was, and I was going to call you anyhow, does that fit in any place? Is there a repeat of that report?
I the report again. I have it in front of me, but I think what you're talking about is the financial update.
That it was
right?
like benchmarks and you know what's going on.
The work plan.
Okay, right.
Right, the work plan, and that's something that can be integrated into those reports because we asked you guys to do a work plan in the beginning, and part of what these regular check-ins will be is just a way for your own, I guess, internal accountability for you to look at your work plan and say, are we on track for the things that we said that we were going to do and the things that we thought we weren't going to be able to do. You'll see on the 6-month annual report, it asks, major objectives that aren't met, and if so, why not? And is there an opportunity to address that later? So again, we want to make the process for you communicating with us easy. We know you've got enough paperwork to do, so that's why we try to make the question,
it was
very targeted.
Yeah, it's for me at any rate, it was all like a record of what we had done, and
exactly.
And if I did that again, I attach that, and maybe we should talk, individually about it. But would that get attached as an addendum?
Yeah,
because
we can.
To me, I did attach something to the 4-question report.
Yeah, definitely go into greater detail offline, but just know that I always prefer you err on the side of more information than less. So I or I are going to complain if we get more information from you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Follow. Mary, do you have another question?
No, I did not. I'll take my hand down. Thank you.
Okay.
Question
Report, Elizabeth.
Okay. I'm a little confused about the 6-month budget, the 6-month report. Is that required, or is that only if there are changes that you need to report?
By us.
Right.
You won't receive an automated from the foundation from that, but that's something that we think is appropriate and necessary.
Okay.
All right. So, Susan or Lynn, do you have any close thoughts or next steps?
I don't have anything specific other than to say that we really value communication with you. We want to be giving you the information that you need, and we want you to feel very comfortable to be in touch with regard to your questions so that we are all on the same page. So I look forward to working with all of you.
This is Lynn, and I echo Susan's comments. So thank you all very much, particularly on this snowy afternoon when your schools were closed, for logging on and participating in this, and we look forward to continuing.
I want to echo what they both said, and thank you both for making the time to come on the call today. Remind you that this will be live and will be emailed to you. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call Lynn or myself with any follow-up questions that you might have. And so that we're going to be having our CLC session coming up in April at the foundation. So look forward to getting some additional information of that over the next couple of weeks. So again, thank you for joining us. And if you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye now.
Bye now.
Bye.